Also, as I was telling you, I think I'm telling so many Dolly stories on my videos and my live streams lately that, yeah, the people, they're like wanting to know more about Dolly Moon Pie.
Mysterious moon pie.
You are.
Let's introduce them to the girl.
Yeah. They want to meet her. Bring her out. Show her off.
Can't be real.
She's too good to be true. She is, right?
It's a figment of your imagination. What a movie. It's a movie idea.
How so?
Like, what if all this is a dream? What if it's not even real? What if I don't even exist?
Dude, I thought about this multiple times. I told you.
I'm all made up, and you are going out there and telling the public.
Am I hallucinating her? Are you seeing her right now? Because I have, like, on multiple occasions, like, I'll wake up from a nap and she's not here, and I'm like, did I just hallucinate her? Like, is she even real? She's a figment of my imagination. Maybe? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. We have a lot of fun together, whether you're real or not, whether I made you up. If I made you up, I did a damn fine job.
You really did.
I really did.
Very proud of you.
We just had our 3-year anniversary a little bit ago, a few days ago, July 20th, 3 years. Yeah. It'll be a year of you living here before we know it too.
That was the middle? First part of December.
Yeah. Ish.
December-ish.
I was back in the span of time where I kind of lost track of reality, where I didn't have anything on my calendar for like 5 months, and I was adrift. My sense of time was like not a thing. So it happened. Well, not to you probably. Tend to be pretty grounded in the here and now.
True.
Which I do believe we see in your Strengthsfinder. Right? Just
right.
So natural.
So
just
natural.
weaving it in. That was our idea of like how to start, where to start, as far as, you know, she's a whole person. She had a whole awesome life and can tell a ton of awesome stories.
Maybe. The jury's still out.
No.
Am I real?
I'm telling you, if you're a hologram, it's a very detailed hologram. So, like, again, does it matter if you're real?
I don't think so.
Does it need to be a thing? I don't personally need it to be a thing. I feel like, man, if I'm projecting you sitting here right now, look at me keeping myself entertained. I knew I could keep myself entertained with my thoughts, but
it's a level of delusion.
That's okay. It's all in how you want to spin it. It's called spin, Dolly. Yeah, so that was our idea, was to talk about Strengthsfinder. This is Dolly's kind of first time taking the Strengthsfinder assessment, and I've taken it a few times over the course of my life, and so right now I am using it in the program that I'm running, and so that's how Dolly got exposed to it. And yeah, it's just been really fun from my seat to watch Dolly Moon Pie come along in how you think about yourself and like just what it sounds like when you start describing who you are. I feel like I've heard a lot of empowerment, type shifts in the kind of language that you're using, and it sounds like along the way, I think Strengthsfinder is one area where you can see a positive reflection of how you're wired, no matter what that looks like. And I personally found in mine that it's like there's a lot in there of ways that I was told that I was wrong or doing it wrong or being wrong or whatever, and seeing something like Strengthsfinder helped me to like put a positive spin on how my energy is naturally wired. So like for me, one example is like I do have high futuristic, and I beat myself up a lot over not being grounded and present in the moment. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm built to kind of live in my head a year into the future, 10 years into the future. Like, that's often where I'm at, not in the here and now. But it's like, yeah, I mean, I have low adaptability, which means you're really good at being in the here and now. And that's like one of your, well, it's your top one, adaptability. Let me just read the description, the little description that I wrote out of the Theme Thursday season 5 episode, which I highly recommend, the Theme Thursday podcast. But I took some notes. So, adaptability, or people who are high in adaptability, live in the now. They react to what happens in the moment, enthusiastically led by what's happening in the moment. You may feel more in tune than others around you. Higher preparation leads to worse outcomes. Your best outcomes are when you just go with the flow naturally. You enjoy somewhat urgent tasks or things that need to be done right now, somewhat energized by change or shifting gears throughout your day. Ultimate desire to react to people around you, regardless of what you have planned before that. And that's a pretty big piece of, like, the adaptability definition, is being able to abort your own plan to go with the flow of, somebody needs something from me, so I'm going to step into that role regardless of what I had intended before. Ultimate presence in the moment. It's more like jazz music type riffing is the adaptability energy, just kind of jumping from one note to the next. And that you're able to go with the flow because you're in tune with the flow. And maybe we'll stop right there and ask Dolly, this is her number one strength as far as where you find energy or motivation or whatever. What has your experience been with learning about adaptability? And do you see it inside yourself, or kind of what insight has it given you?
I've always said that I'm like a chameleon, so to take the Strengthsfinder and find out that adaptability was my number one strength totally made sense. Because being a chameleon, you adapt to whoever, whatever the emotion is, or you just adapt to everything. So it felt good to me to find out that was, a strength. I've said that not knowing what it meant. I've said for years that I'm a chameleon, and I don't know what, I could never explain, I guess, if somebody asked me, well, what do you mean you're a chameleon? What did you, so it was gratifying, I guess, or whatever the word, to find out that was a strength. Yeah.
How do you think it helps you in your life to be adaptable? Like, why would that be a good thing?
You get along with everybody when you can adapt. Mm-hmm. If you can adapt and change, then it's very, I think you even said it, like fluid, and it makes people happy. You're never causing waves by being adaptable. I think about that, like with Julie, she's so adaptable, and that's what she said. You don't want to create waves. You don't want to go against people. And so I think it's an easy path to take.
To be adaptable is an easy path to take?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting.
For me,
it's the easiest way to be, is what you're saying.
For me, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to think of some examples. If, for example, you've got plans to go somewhere and you're excited about it, and then the person that you're going with says, I don't feel like going today, or something's come up and I can't. I think if you don't have adaptability, you're mad, you're upset, you're hurt. This is what we were going to do. This was set in stone. And
what's that from us? they're cruising.
So if you're adaptable, then it's okay. Okay, no big deal. We won't go today.
And did you say that
Maybe.
you have... What were you going to say?
Nothing.
Did you say that you often have, like, backup plans? Like, you're able to adapt because, like, I know that if we actually don't go to the movies, I'm going to go do this, and if it rains, then I'm going to go do this. Like, is it like that?
I do now. I didn't always, which is interesting. But this is the number one strength, and I didn't always have that. I would get very upset if I didn't have a backup plan. So I don't know. Is that adaptability or is it not?
Well, it kind of makes me wonder, like...
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's
did
something else.
Did you grow your adaptability? Like, do you think you didn't used to be adaptable?
Yes and no. I feel like I've always been chameleonic. I've always been able to adapt wherever. I don't feel like I'm just set in stone with a belief or whatever. So I guess that's adaptable. But the disappointment coming from somebody canceling plans on you or saying this is what we're going to do and then that changes, that's definitely been upsetting. So I don't know. I guess I'm confused now. I'm really, like, thinking about it and maybe second guessing. I don't know.
Just further exploring.
Yeah. Maybe it's something totally different. I don't know.
Well,
sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're good.
I've just said that I'm chameleonic, and that very much ties into adaptability. But at the same time, I know that there's been plans made and then they get canceled, and yes, I do get upset or get my heart broken or whatever feeling comes from that. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta do it twice. Good to know. We live and we learn.
Good to know.
What was I saying? Do you remember?
Had something to do with adaptability, and I guarantee you that.
Nice.
Well, let me say this.
Okay.
So I best by examples, I guess. But so if I'm going to put myself vulnerable, I need to have like a backup plan, I guess, or yeah. If I'm going to get excited about something, like truly excited about something, or really vulnerable about something, I need to make sure that there's a backup plan. There's a couple backup plans. So is that adaptability? But I don't know, but at the same time, something could happen, like at work, and all of a sudden you're not doing this, now you're doing this over here. So I'm very, very adaptable that way.
Right, like at the
So
store, you definitely jump into all the different little tasks, just whatever needs done. You can kind of juggle a lot of that and quickly move between things, where some people might resent being interrupted like that. And I think you've definitely talked about sometimes being interrupted bothers you and sometimes it doesn't. And maybe we'll get to that more with your achiever that we're going to talk about next. But yeah, adaptability, I think, is like the ability to not need to have a plan and to be okay no matter what happens. And mostly because like the only thing that's real is right now in this moment. And that was like one of the funniest things when we started dating, and I would ask you like something about later today and you're like, I haven't got that far in my life. And I just like, I thought you were making a joke, and it took me a couple years to realize like you meant that. Like that's not real. Like it's not happening. Like what right now is happening. Like I haven't got there. That's 2 hours from now.
Well, and I think some of that came from there's that vulnerability, or that do I get excited? Do I say I wanted? Yeah, I thought maybe we would go do this, and then that doesn't happen. So now you're disappointed. So I haven't made it that far yet. Seems to be an easy answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting your hopes up is like scary.
Yes.
I wonder if that's true. I mean, if you have high adaptability in your top 5, I would love to hear if you have that in common, if we can attribute the living in the moment to some kind of like aversion to setting a plan.
Well, and we even talked about that with your futuristic. You've talked about how you've made a backup plan, and then if that doesn't work, then you got this other backup plan and that backup plan, and that's how you can plan things ahead. That's how you can, I'm going to do this 2 weeks from now, but you know that may not happen, so then maybe I'll do this or do that. So, I guess that's tied to it, right? I don't know.
Well, that's totally how I am comfortable with my plan, is that I know it's just a tool. It's just like a figment of my imagination of like, this could happen, anything could happen. Like I don't believe that my plan necessarily has to unfold the way I've planned for me to orient myself in a particular direction, and then today I know how to act to head in that particular direction, and all the time I'm like, stay in the course and follow in the weaving path or whatever. But yeah, because I don't get disappointed when the plan changes. Like that doesn't, like I know it, and it used to though, I think, more so than it does now, definitely. When plans changed, it would upset me. But
so that's funny that adaptability somehow ties in with seeing things very black and white. Maybe not, I don't know. Maybe
that's what gives you the depth of presence in the now, is that black and white. And that's interesting that you say that, because I'm being reminded that adaptability is part of the calm package. They have different packages, like informally, just to kind of help you clump like strengths together, and adaptability is one of the calming strengths. And it gives calm to the present moment. It's like a depth of calm in the right now. That's like one of the pieces of like leaning into adaptability, is practice high stakes calmness. Like in a crisis, when shit is hitting the fan and you're like just jumping from one fire to the next fire, like firefighters literally have high adaptability generally, their ability to just like move into a situation and literally fight it as it arises in front of them, kind of thing. So like first responders is kind of a connotation for adaptability.
Which I think is why, dispatching was something that I could do. I was able to do that. And I do enjoy that, like, when it's just like completely crazy, yeah, I can stay very calm in the middle of chaos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you have a very calming vibe overall.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Let's roll to Achiever, you think?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay, so let me read the little description here to start us off. So, hard worker, forward moving energy, high energy and stamina to do a lot in a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's an executing theme, so it's about getting shit done. Achievers start the day at 0, and they see themselves mostly through the lens of how much should I complete today, and generally they complete a lot of tasks in a day. Incredible at pushing yourself to do more and squeeze the energy out of your day. The blind spot I feel inclined to mention, because I personally have fallen victim to this. Your stamina can be hard to keep up with by others. You need less rest than other people. Let's see. And that you can hesitate to ask for help, believing you can do it all yourself. So let me just open it back up to you. Like, do you resonate with Achiever?
Yes.
Yes.
Hardcore, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Do any parts stand out more than others?
Yes, the blind spots.
The stamina?
Yes.
Why? You got a story about that?
I've got lots of stories.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a story?
Yes. I mean, that reminds me of a dog that's on a scent on a trail and runs forever. That's how I feel sometimes. I just get doing something and I go, and then it finally like sinks in and hits me, and I'm like, I'm tired. I'm wore out. Holy shit.
Takes a long time to get there.
Takes a long time to get there. Yeah. And I can go all day, and yeah, I know that I've got very good stamina. It is hard, I think, sometimes for people to keep up with me.
Where do
So
you
just-
notice others not keeping up with you?
I don't know, there's such a drive to get stuff done sometimes, so that's sometimes where that comes from. Like, I know I'm tired, I know I'm exhausted, but I like to see things through. I want it to, from beginning to end, I want to get it done before I move on to the next thing, so that's a big push to keep going and doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm listening. Tracking.
I see it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you said.
Excellent
Achieve.
follow through to completion.
That's it.
That's like
Yes.
the core of the achiever. Achiever's a fancy word for finisher. Like if you set a goal, you do it. And like with adaptability and achiever, yours looks a little different than most of the achiever I've ever seen. Because usually achievers are all about that to-do list. Like, let me write down and I'm going to put a box next to everything just so I can check the box off. And like yours doesn't really work like that. You don't generally feel a need to keep a list like that.
I think they're a waste of time. I think it's stupid.
You're talking to people who might have achiever and they're out there with their little boxes and checking them off. I'm doing that.
Edit-
Don't feel bad.
Edit.
No.
You want me to talk?
Yes. No, you're good.
Well, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
For you personally, it's not necessary.
No. I know in my mind what needs to be done, and I usually don't need a list, and it's about, I don't know, I guess the way I look at that is I feel accomplished, like I get it done and then I move on to the next task, and I look at it and I can say, okay, I've got that done. I don't know, I don't understand the putting a check mark in the box. Maybe somebody could help me understand that. I don't understand why looking at a paper and checking a box. I guess I just know it, so I don't understand.
For me, it's like a moment of celebration of that finishing of like, I said I was gonna do this thing and I did it, and it's almost like the check mark feels like a freaking reward. It's like a little party about like, I completed it, I did it. Like it's like a total moment of self-celebration, I think. I don't know, that's what it was for me anyways.
I do that too.
In your head though? Because
Yeah,
obviously
like-
you're not using a piece of paper.
Well, like, let's take the deck for instance, like staining the deck or getting it power washed, and then I stand back with my cup of coffee or a beer in my hand or whatever, and I'm looking at the deck and I'm like, man, that thing is beautiful. You did really awesome. That thing is kick-ass. You worked really hard and did great. So I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like you have to check the box. Like, it's so controlling. Like, it's so, you have to
Well, but
check that. Maybe for me, and
if somebody else wrote your boxes,
yeah,
I wrote those boxes. Who's
Yeah.
controlling who here? Like,
Right.
I'm checking off the things that
Yeah.
I wanted to do
yeah,
that were important enough to me to write them down because they needed to get done. These are important things that I like check the box.
maybe as a childhood trauma.
Yeah, how's that?
Mom had a list, and I had to check the box of things that I did to get a prize or a treat or whatever.
And did you say you got one prize and you're like, yeah, screw this.
Yeah.
I don't want this.
Yeah.
I don't care.
You're gonna control me and make me do this? You probably, no, I don't need it. I'm good without it. Thank you very much. I control me, make my own decisions.
Get off me. Yeah.
Maybe it's a childhood trauma that I wanted to
Yeah.
talk about.
So yeah, you were saying about how you have an issue with boxes. Traumatically induced phobia. Box phobia.
Box phobia.
It's an Aquarius thing, maybe.
Maybe, it could be. Yeah, I think achiever is describes me very good.
So yeah, you
I
keep
like-
a mental list of what you accomplished in a day.
I do, and I like to look back and... So I did this morning, and I did this, and I did that, and I like to go back and look at my list and see everything that I did, but it's in my mind. I don't know, I think that would be fascinating to like look deeper into why a list and checking things off, and I think it puts pressure on me, a lot of it, and I don't care for that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why does it put pressure? Again, if you're the one writing the list, why does it put pressure on you?
Well, I mean, if there's something on your list that you don't get done, it's disappointing.
Again, we're back at disappointment. Interesting.
You failed. You didn't get the whole list done. That's been something that I've noticed over the past several years. Yeah.
Is what?
Why don't I make a list? Why don't I write down the things that I want to do? Why don't I, if I don't get them done, how does that make me feel? And there is some of that. Making a list. I know when I first moved in here, I made a list. There were several things that needed to be done, and little by little, I crossed them off. But there were a couple things that didn't get done, and that was such a sense of disappointment and frustration and just not a good feeling.
Like towards yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So once it's on the list, you kind of feel like chained to it?
A little bit.
And if you don't write it down?
I'm not chained to it. I do what needs to be done. I can look around. There's your adaptability.
Yeah,
I'm in
exactly.
the moment, and I'm saying, this needs to be done, and that needs to be done, and let me go fix this and do this, and there's the adaptability, and that's way more comfortable than writing this list, and then I don't get it done, and now it's disappointment, and I didn't do this, and I didn't live up to expectations, and
Your own expectations.
my own expectations, yes.
Do you think you have high expectations of yourself?
Very.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why is that funny? I want to know.
That's not funny, you're funny.
Why am I funny? Moon pie. Careful.
Get water at the camera.
Yeah. So why am I funny?
Just looking at you, wondering what you were thinking.
Always wondering what I'm thinking. Oh, you're funny. Huh?
It just made me laugh.
You.
Yeah, you.
Yeah. So you have high expectations for yourself?
Very.
Why do you think that is?
I've always thought it was because of my Aquarius. I've just always associated that with being an Aquarius. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe you could tell me.
I don't know.
Neither one of us know.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. It's fun for another day.
Fun for another day.
Yeah. I don't know. The Capricorn moon kind of comes to mind
That makes sense.
for anybody else out there with a Capricorn moon. Dolly knows all about that. And it kind of has some of that same, like, achiever kind of ness to it, where when Capricorn sets out to do something, it's gonna make it happen. Like, it's the sea goat. It can climb the tallest mountain. It can swim the deepest ocean. It does what it needs to do to accomplish what it set out to do. So Capricorn moon, I mean, sounds a lot to me like the achiever, almost. Kind of a similar description of that inner drive to, like, do stuff every day. Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels good to do things, I guess. There's a lot of energy that needs to be burned off, but it also feels good to just to look around and then see all the things that I've done, it just feels really good. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
I can look and say, I did the dishes, I washed and dried, and I put the dishes away, and now that's all clean, and I did the laundry, and now that's ready to go. Also, I think it's you're ready. the next day you've got clean dishes to eat off of. You've got laundry. It's a preparation for whatever. So
Yeah.
doing all the things.
Yeah, you told me I do my laundry because I like clean clothes. And I'm like, that is a good reason to do laundry. You know, I just wear your clean clothes instead of do my laundry. So, Sure.
Works pretty good.
Because the achiever is way more likely to get their laundry done than the non-achiever. To get everything done, that's the whole point, is that you're good at finishing things. Which you definitely are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of where one of the areas where we have been talking a lot lately about, like, the handoff point. Scooby want to be in the video. Get her up here. Introduce her in the video.
Come on, Scooby. Come on. Get up here.
There is
dear
Stinky.
Scoober. Hi, Scoober. Hi.
Did you want to be in the video?
She missed me.
Yeah, it was a long time.
Yeah. Hi. Yes. Oh, I know. Thank you. Give all the wigs. Huh? You give all the wigs? Yeah. Yeah.
She's a very good
Are
scrubber.
you happy now? Huh? Yeah.
Stella says, am I next? Can I come up there?
We get all the turns.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the best part of you guys being here. All the pets and the holds and...
So goofy.
She's a real show stealer.
She is.
She said, I'll be good. Just keep petting me. Don't ever stop.
Yeah.
Did you want to pet me? Huh? Did you want to pet me? Stinky? She said, is this more convenient for you to give me some pets? Oh, Stinkus. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing?
What's your next?
Yeah, the next one is restorative.
Restorative.
We'll read the description to Scroober, get her thoughts.
She's got really good thoughts.
She usually does, yeah.
Very,
No
very
shortage of
insightful.
insights.
Little
Mhm.
doggo.
Okay,
Yes, you are.
so the restorative theme is great at facing problems, untangling messes, fixing what's broken, finding what's wrong and solving it. You lean into problems when others lean out. You're energized by something to solve or fix up or renovate. Restoring something to working order or its natural form. Huge amounts of patience. Great ability for the puzzle of solving how to fix something. And on this one, actually I'll come back to that. Go ahead and, does that one resonate?
Yes.
Still yes?
Yes. Yeah, I like to fix stuff. Always have liked to fix stuff.
Anything in particular?
Whatever's broken.
Whatever.
You've got to fix it if it's broken. Like to untangle things or fix things or... like tangible things that are broke, to fix those, or if somebody's got a problem, I think that's fixing stuff. Yeah.
What about people?
Well,
Do you ever fix people? Or have
Tried.
you?
I tried. Yeah, many times I've tried over the years, and you can't.
How's that go?
Can't. It doesn't go. You can't do that. You can't fix somebody else. You can only fix yourself.
It's a fact. Have you
That's
used your
a fact.
restorative on yourself, do you think?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. I'm trying to think of an example. I don't know. I don't have an example. It's easier to think of all the, like, concrete.
The physical things
The
you
physical
fixed.
things that I've fixed. Yeah, for sure. And that feels good to fix stuff. To, what'd you say in there, to take something old and restore it.
To like bring it back to life.
Well, it seems so, like, meaningful. Instead of just taking something and, well, it's broke, let's just toss it in and go get a new one. That that kind of, I don't have that kind of mentality. I have the mentality that let's take this and fix it, or sure we can make it new again, or make it in working order again, and it feels good. It feels purposeful. She's got claw paws.
Yeah, she does.
She's ready to get
She's
out.
like, okay, that's enough.
Get
I'm
out.
hot.
Yeah.
I'm a hot scrubber.
So it's
Yes.
energizing to
Yes,
have
that's
something
it.
to fix.
You're so good with words.
Well, that's like the idea of like each of these 5 strengths is kind of pointing out, where does your energy come from? Like, how does the gas get in your tank?
That's it.
And yeah, so for restorative, it is Stella's turn.
Hi, Stella dog. It's her turn now. She says it's my turn on the lap. I love you, Dolly Mama.
She tricks
Oh.
me into getting down so she could get up
You're
here.
okay. Yes, you're okay.
That's Stella's superpower.
yes.
Yes.
Trick and Scroober.
Yeah, she goes over there and says, "Oh, what is this? Is there a doggo over here?"
And then Scooby follows her.
Yeah, and gets real excited, and then Stella runs back and jumps in
She's
my
very
lap.
strategic that way.
You're a strategic thinker.
She gets
Stella.
it from her mama.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a good doggo, Stella Polo.
Oh.
yeah. You're very proud of yourself, aren't you? Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
so oh, go ahead.
No, please.
Yeah, whose job is it to fix this? So it's like, who's owning the fix? If it's your job and you notice something broken within the realm of your job and you want to take the initiative and fix it, that's great. But like, if I'm talking about this problem or whatever, it's like, when it's somebody else's issue, they teach a lot in Strengthsfinder to ask for permission. Like, do you want help? Thinking of ways you might be able to solve this or whatever.
I think you can get yourself into a lot of trouble trying to fix stuff without asking for permission.
Have you run into that?
Yeah, over the years, for sure.
Because it's kind of surprising how not everybody wants their problems to be fixed.
No, they sure don't want the problems fixed.
You'd think they would, but really that's not always an automatic assumption you can make, really.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely ask permission.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I did a lot of that in my younger years, trying to fix stuff that had no business fixing. But you just feel like called to action. It's broke here, let me fix it. And I think it's fun for me now to stand back and I see other people doing that, where they're like, oh, it's broke here, let me fix it. And sometimes you try to fix things and you don't really have the knowledge to fix stuff, but it's such a strong urge to fix things. You hear the word broken, it's broken here, give it here, I can fix it. And yeah, I'm very careful now of the things that I do fix. When I say, well, here, can I look at it? Maybe I can fix it, or if I offer to fix it, or I have the knowledge, I've either fixed something like this before, or had experience with it before, or whatever. So I think I'm more selective in the things that I fix the older that I get.
Mm-hmm.
Older and wiser. You can't just fix everything.
And that's something that they talked about on the Restorative podcast that I listened to. It's like one of the hardest things for a person with high restorative is to run into a problem that you cannot fix. And like the woman was talking about, like her dad's Alzheimer's diagnosis, like you can't fix that. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I'll be honest, like I avoid those problems. Like when that happens and I can't fix it, I just walk away. I need to get away from it because I can't just keep looking at it knowing I can't fix it. And she's like, I don't know what that says about me, but this is just what I'm doing. But I was like, that's very honest, thank you, because I'm sure it's relatable.
It is so true, because yeah, if you can't step in and fix it, or somebody doesn't want it fixed, or whatever it is very discouraging. Yeah, I've run into a lot of that just recently, work-related things that to me need to be fixed, and maybe not even just me, and you want to fix them, and you're kind of met with resistance, so you just walk away and just pretend like it doesn't even exist, because it is hard to see that. Yeah.
Well, and that also kind of comes back to, we've been talking a lot about discernment and like being able to discern, like, where's it even gonna help for you to invest your energy versus like when are you talking to a brick wall. And I think that's maybe true on like any of these strengths, is like that's part of like maturing and learning how to use it, is how to apply it so it's actually going to serve you and not get in your way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I mean, like in this context of restorative and fixing things, it's like, I mean, people, like you said, can't be fixed, or some things can't be fixed, or like the kind of the return on investment, like it's taking more effort than it's worth. Like I think about, you had like a dresser or something that you wanted to strip the paint or the something off of the outside of it, and you were trying and trying and trying, and finally you're like, I'm just gonna, I can't do that because it's just too hard. It's too much effort to fix it like I wanted to fix it, so I am gonna have to like pivot.
Yeah. Well, and I think out of all of these, the top 5 strengths, I think that's the restorative is the one that, I can see how that one's matured or changed over the years.
Really?
Yeah, I'll have to look at the rest of them, but just thinking about that right now, and that's kind of, I like that.
Yeah.
How it's, I mean, that's one, like I said, where you think you can fix everything and you can't, and there's so many times, I mean, because if something's broke, I'd love to get in there and let me see what's wrong with it. Let me take out this screw and do this, and now I've got a big pile of crap because I don't know anything about it. I don't know how to fix it, but I thought that I could because I have this damn restorative. I think I can fix anything, and I can't. So to get to the point now where I'm like, I don't know anything about that. It's clearly broken, and I need to find somebody who knows something about that and just know when to walk away. So that one, I don't know about the rest of these. I haven't looked at them.
But not always, because like when the shower broke, like over the winter, the pipe froze, and so the shower was like leaking water into the basement when you would turn it on, and Dolly fixed that. You fixed that, and I feel like that was a good combination of your restorative plus learner plus input kind of all got to shine in that pursuit, because you had no idea what to do, and so there were, you said with guidance, like YouTube videos. What else did you?
Your father.
Oh yeah, Dad came and helped a little bit. He cut a really perfect hole in the wall. It's like anally perfect. Apparently that was like important. I'd love to see his top 5.
He did good.
But so it's not that you can't fix things that you don't know how to fix.
Right.
You definitely have a strong willingness to try. So what does it feel like when you realize, like, I need to hand this off to somebody else?
It feels good to know that, because I haven't done that in the past. I'm like, no, I can, let me look at it. I can. He's gone. Okay. It's on the screen.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, it was big.
It was
big. On me.
It's right there.
That thing?
I think.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Wish it wasn't back.
Oh, my God. The little guy was soft. He had that going for him. Anyways, so like when you do recognize that, like, you need to hand this off to somebody else.
It feels very good to know my boundaries, to know my limitations, to know, because I didn't for a long time. I thought I could fix anything. Let me have it. Let me tear it apart. And now I've got a big pile of crap.
A big mess.
I got a big mess.
That I can't put back together.
I can't put back together. So to understand and...
Well, and it kind of comes back to what we were talking about the other day of, like, knowing what the stakes are. Like, is it gonna be okay if I experiment with this and
Sure, yeah.
take it apart? Like, is that okay? But before I go cutting holes in the wall, let me like make sure that I'm actually doing something that's not just exploratory, you know, or whatever the case is. But sometimes like it's safe to just try, and other times it's like, yeah, I better have somebody handle this that knows what they're doing.
So yeah, to distinguish and know. So I keep rocking the table.
That's okay. It's no big deal.
Got an earthquake.
Oh, it's okay. Let's see. Ooh, here's another piece of that restorative that I wanted to talk about. Very good at breaking things down into steps. And this reminds me of like the ping pong table that we set up recently. Where you could see like her top 5 and my top 5. Like I'm the one that's like, I'm gonna just try like a bunch of different ideas and in the first 5 minutes and just like kind of see what works. And she's definitely more like stand back and look at it and like make a plan and know the steps that you're gonna execute before you ever start with even the first step. And I'm like, let's do the first step and we'll learn from that one and that'll tell us what the second step will be. So it's like totally opposite. No,
we can't do that.
totally opposite. So that was an interesting experience with setting up the ping pong table. But that was also what helped us have that conversation about methodical. And that's what that reminded me of, was very good at breaking things down into steps.
Yeah.
Methodical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't whisper to the camera.
Isn't that the how we were even going to get to? That was the whole point of this video, was to get to the methodical
Yes.
portion
Yes.
of. Yeah.
That was a goal of like
Viewing.
if we could talk about it, because there are people in the world whose processors work quick, and like I told you the other day, like what part of my human design is like you're designed to make a lot of interesting mistakes. And like, yeah, I get that. I go so fast. It's like the Facebook quote, like go fast and fail a lot, or I don't know, go fast and break things, or whatever it is. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'd rather just charge ahead and just try a bunch of stuff. And if I drop it a couple times, like, no big deal. I'll just try something different. And yours definitely does not work like that. And it stresses you to the max for me to, like, push you like that. So, yeah, I wonder if you would just say anything about that. That was several days ago now. But
Well, yeah, my dad was that way. He very methodical in what he did, and he had a brother that was, let's just jump in and do it and go fast. And yeah, you would get so frustrated by that. Like, well, let's stop and let's figure it out. Let's get the steps and let's plan it all out and then do it. And Joe, let's charge ahead. Let's just do it. And I'm very much like that. I want to plan it out. I want to think about it. I want to make sure that it's right the first time. Not that you're not going to make mistakes, because that's how you learn. But why make mistakes if you don't have to? Why not like take the time and plan it all out and then do a really good job? And if you do make a mistake, okay, well, that's fine. But that thing really likes you.
He loved me.
Yeah.
He's my friend.
Well, you do smell real nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smelly.
Yeah.
yeah, the floor.
The floor.
Year ago, 2 years ago, whatever. But
So I wanted to plan it all out and make sure that the underlayment was just like perfect and measured out, and I was doing it according to the YouTube video, and you were, no, just start doing it. We'll just figure it out.
easy with the impressions,
Okay.
turd. She has a way of putting a tone on me that I don't think is fair. You know what I mean?
She didn't do that at all.
Screw her. She's full of it.
anyways, I do need a push. Sometimes a gentle push. And I can get very caught up in planning everything out and making sure the best example we have to talk about Tweety Bird.
Yeah.
I think it sums it up pretty good. When I was little, when I would color in the coloring book of Tweety Bird and Sylvester, I had to keep referring back to the front cover of the coloring book and color it just as it was on the cover.
Follow the
Because
directions.
Tweety Bird can't be pink and can't be purple and can't be blue. Tweety Bird can only be yellow.
It's again that black and white.
Is that black
Kind
and
of
white? It's
thinking.
rules. Tweety Bird can only be yellow. Why would you ever color Tweety Bird anything but yellow? I can't even imagine.
I can't even imagine why you would need to do that.
I don't know. Well,
Some kind of blasphemy or something.
It is.
Something.
so you have to, like, they tell you steps to put down the floor and to do the underlayment, and you have to do it just like that. And you have to measure and plan it all out, and then you start doing it.
And what did I want to do?
Carly just wanted to jump in, and we'll just figure it out as we go.
Let's
And
just get some boards out of the box and let's put them on the floor and let's
we-
like
can we
fucking
just
get
do
this
it?
show on the road.
And so
I made her very uncomfortable.
it was really hard for me, and yeah.
And how'd you get through it?
Love you, that's all I can say.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's all it was. I love her. I do. She's pissed me off real bad right now. Want to say fuck her and fuck the floor, but I really do love her.
That's the power of love right there.
It's the power of love.
Yeah.
Huey Lewis.
How about that? Is that a thing?
Huey
Is it like a
Lewis
song
in the
or
news.
something?
Yeah, the power of love.
I see. She's got like a whole Encyclopedia Britannica in her brain for thousands
80s
of songs.
music.
Yeah, lots of
Yeah.
songs. Lots of genres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you don't want down that track of the
Yeah.
lyrics.
We're losing her. We're losing her. So the fourth one is developer, which I think is very cool. But what do you think about it? Or let me read the little thing.
Yeah,
here.
I don't know what it is.
You know some of what it is. Okay, so especially delighted by other people's moments of discovery and growth, can notice potential in others and gently nudge them towards their growth. Very patient with others. This is like your third one that specifically mentions
good
patience.
story.
Yeah, you should tell us.
Yeah?
Yeah, go for it.
Yesterday we were at the store, and the young man that I was working with, I wanted him to mark down some produce, discount produce. And so I showed him the process, step-by-step process. This is what we do. This is where we find a code. This is how we'll mark it down. This is where you will place your labels, your tags on the bag. And the reason that we do it. So I outlined all the steps and we walked all the way through it. And then I went to do something else, and he came and found me, and he had like this little sheepish grin on his face, and Dolly, can you help me? I don't remember things very good. Okay. So I walked over with him to the scale, and I said, okay, how would you start? What would you do? Well, I don't know. Well, just do something. Just show me.
Try.
Just do something. Just try. And he did, and I only had to like help him a little bit, and he did it. He just didn't have the confidence to do it. And sometimes I think it's, instead of just starting something, and especially if you've told that story so many times that I don't know how, I can't do it, I'm not good at this, you just keep doing that. And somebody who has done that so much of my life, especially when I was younger, I don't know, can you show me? And having people take over things and finishing it for me and doing it for me. Yeah, we weren't going to have that yesterday. So to see that, I know he's a smart kid, and I know he can figure this out. It's not overly complicated. just think about it and take your time and be willing to make a mistake. And that's what he did. And he did it. And I was like, look at you go. You did great. And I was very proud of him. And yeah, it felt good
Energizing.
for me. It was energizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And he had a big grin on his face. And not that it was anything like, you're going to win an award for doing this one thing. But it built up his confidence. Plus, it's a rapport between him and I. He feels confident with me. He knows he can come to me and ask me stuff. And there's a trust and a bond there, which I think is very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Developer is
So-
a relationship building theme
Yes.
at its heart. So like you're connecting with others through the lens of how could they be one step better than where they are right now. And another piece of it that sets it apart from other strengths is that it doesn't discriminate against, like, is the person going from 0 to 1 or 100 to 101 or -50 to -49. Like, you really don't, well, developer theoretically really doesn't care. It's like about the increment of progress. No matter where you're starting from, as long as you're getting one step better, I'm excited by that. It doesn't have to be anywhere specific along the range. Do you feel like that's how yours works? Like it's just generally excited about anybody's growth? Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be like at a certain level. Mm-mm. No.
No, and the only thing that is like on my mind is the story of, I hate to use names, but Stacy at the store. I mean, I love that story about, I think that falls into this.
For sure. And into the part about not discriminating about where is the person starting from and what kind of growth are we talking about. And so maybe you want to say just a little bit about your coworker, Stacy.
Yeah, she came to the store wanting a job, but she had a stroke, and she's, I think, in her 40s. And so, I don't know.
She couldn't talk.
Well, yeah, that's what they said, is that she couldn't talk. Everything else had come back, all of her skills and, all of her motor skills, I guess, came back, but she couldn't talk. And so wanted to know if we could give her a job. And so she came into the store, and where we thought that she would fit in at really wasn't a good fit for her. So I took her back to the meat department where I was at, and it was more than just not being able to talk. It was comprehension. It was, so many things it seemed like. And so taking her from not even really being able to tell you her name when I first met her, because she had to show me her driver's license, I think, so that I would know her name. So to take somebody that couldn't speak at all and tell me her name, and all she could really say was yes, nod her head. Really, really felt like no kind of understanding, I guess. And to take her like a month later, a month and a half, maybe 2 months later, to, if there's a change in something that we're doing, she could quickly recognize it. Just being able to comprehend, being able to talk, telling me about her son, carrying on somewhat of a conversation with me, and being able to come in and self-start on tasks that needed to be done in the meat department. So that was just like taking her from very limited skills, I guess, to other than like clearly communicating with the customers when they came up to the meat counter. I thought that's where kind of where we ended with her when she left. So I felt very accomplished. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was very cool when you very first met her to hear you describe like what it was like to talk to her, because she couldn't speak with words so much, but at the same time, like developer as a strength and Strengthsfinder has a sense for people and a sense for their potential and a sense for like what they're capable of, even one step beyond like what they're doing right now. So plus, I mean, you're a Pisces rising, you have like a general intuitive sense about you that is kind of similar to, you know, not to compare this to Stacy, but very similar in a way to being able to read like the dog's eyes or body language or whatever. Like with her, it stripped the words away and you were forced to rely on that side of your communication skills. And like I remember you saying how you would like be talking to her and like having your half of the conversation and like just treating her like she was contributing her half, but you were reading it like off of her.
Yeah. She was, I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, that's my thought.
That's okay.
Yeah, when I first met her, she just had like a really good vibe about her. There was something about her that made me feel like, yeah, I can work with her. It's okay if she doesn't talk because I think we'll be fine anyways. And we always were. I was always able to communicate with her, even though she couldn't speak the words. And I did. I treated her just like I would anybody else. I talked to her and communicated the same with her, and through her body language, through her whatever, I could understand what she was thinking or feeling, or it seemed that way. And as good of a relationship as we had working, and as much as she got done for me, I would say, yeah, we didn't need the words. We still worked great. She was a great worker and got a lot done, and
Yeah.
very grateful to have her there. And I just asked her how she was doing. How was your weekend? You know,
Same as you would anybody else.
And she could talk a little bit and communicate a little bit. Yes, it was a good weekend. Yeah, she had a smile on her face or whatever. So, yeah, we didn't need words, and that I felt good about that. I was very proud of that, to be able to communicate with somebody like that, where it can be very intimidating, I guess. But
I wonder how much your adaptability helps there too.
yes.
That sense for somebody's current needs in the moment.
Yes. Yeah, because I knew there were times when her hands were cold, or, I mean, you could just see through her actions, her whatever, that, yeah, what she needed. I had a very good sense of kind of where she was at, when she was getting tired, when she was ready to go home, or when she wasn't understanding something, whatever, without ever saying anything. I don't know.
I mean,
It's
that
just very
reminded me of the
very
moment when we
intuitive.
were decorating for the homes tour, and we were out front putting the
Yes.
stuff on the front of the house, and I was just standing there like we were, you know, talking about how the front of the house was going to be decorated with the couple people who were helping, and all of a sudden here comes Dolly, and she's got my coat and like gives it to me to put on because I was freezing, but I hadn't even registered that I was cold until she handed me the coat to put on. So it's like so intuitive. And I think that honestly kind of comes in again, it's kind of similar to the restorative, the developer piece and the adaptability piece. It's like, who's owning these needs? Who's truly responsible for the growth and the development, or in the developer case, like, yeah, whose journey is this? And with the developer, I think the blind spot or the potential for it to get in your own way is like you're kind of overly invested in somebody doing something that will promote their own growth. And maybe similar to restorative, I guess I could ask you, like, is it kind of the same where if there's an unfixable problem or there's somebody who doesn't want to participate in their own growth, like, do you feel like you just have to walk away and not look at it? Or can you still interact with that person and just don't develop them?
I guess that's a good question. I don't know, it'd probably be easier just to walk away.
Maybe depends on the situation.
Probably depends on the situation, because I think on some level, you're always going to try to develop them or fix them or whatever, right?
You are.
I will.
That's what you got going on.
Yeah. Well, as you were talking too, it made me think, like, I think that's why, like, being a mom and just, like, having a family was, like, so important. Or so, because, I mean, that's a lot of the stuff you do as a mom, as a parent, right?
Is what I know.
Developer, you know, well, developer for sure. I mean, that's what
adaptability, like chasing your kids
yes.
around kind of thing.
I think a lot of those fall into that, yeah. Because that's kind of how I felt like, well, I do feel like that at the store a little bit. I think with the kids, you know, you do kind of feel like that parent or the mother or whatever, and just kind of what's best for them or encourage them or whatever.
Kind of like nurture them.
Nurturing, yeah.
Very nurturing.
Very, yeah.
Did you know that about yourself before Strengthsfinder? Would you have, like, called yourself nurturing?
Well, I don't know if I'd use that word, but I knew I feel like that's why I'm here. Or that's not why I'm here, I won't say that, but that was my greatest goal or life achievement or whatever, is being a mom and a wife. Yeah. Especially being a mom. I don't know so much about a wife, but being a mom for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like the best, greatest thing that I could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is enjoyable though with the kids, just like that example that I gave, just like, you can do this, you're capable, come on, let's do it. Yeah. There's just something, like you said, energizing about that.
Do you feel like you've ever met people where, like, that developer couldn't see potential in them? Like, or do you see potential in everybody?
It's another good question. Full of them.
Yeah.
I'm curious kitty today, Mumbai.
Yeah, I've never thought about it. I don't know. Probably just see potential in everybody, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of wondering about that, like, indiscrimination, where pretty much everybody can get a little bit better,
Yeah.
you know? Mostly, unless they're just flat out not willing, which is a whole other thing. Not that it's not there for them to grow into, but maybe they're not ready.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's some people that just, I don't know, I can't do this. And I think I only listened to that so long, and then I'm like, okay, fine, you can't. And I'll just walk away, I guess, would be an answer to your question. Because I know that's definitely happened.
Yeah.
If you're just, I can't do it, I can't. Okay, then you can't.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye now.
Yeah, I'll walk away.
Which, one of the blind spots is developer believes in other people's growth even when the other person has given up. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's too heavy for you to carry when they don't want to carry it themselves.
I always thought I would be really good at like a personal coach, fitness coach type thing.
Personal trainer.
Yes, because I think that I don't give in to that, or I guess maybe I don't acknowledge that, oh, I'm hurt, I'm tired, I can't do this. I'll keep pushing you. Except for you. I won't push you. But everybody else out there, I won't push.
Why won't you push me?
Because
I
won't.
She don't need pushed?
No.
She's good to go.
She's good to go. She's good to go, yeah. If there was a situation where I felt like you needed it, I probably would, but...
I mean, you encourage me sometimes.
Yeah.
Which isn't like pushing, but supporting. I mean,
Yeah.
you cheer me on sometimes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think I'm pretty good at, come on, you can do it, you're fine. But yeah, there's some people that are just hell-bent on, no, I can't do this, and yeah, I'll walk away from that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only so much of that you
Yeah.
can fight through, you know?
Right. That's the truth.
Okay, so the last one of your 5, number 5, is individualization. Read just a little bit about that. Seeing the uniqueness of each person. Remembering specific details about people. Quickly feeling like you know people. Good judge of character. You like to avoid generalizations. If you have to use the word always, you're going to say something like there's always something unique about a person. You tend to be an excellent gift giver. And you are good at giving individualized recognition.
Yeah.
Sensing the individual differences in people. Feel like you got a pretty good beat on that.
Yeah. Just personalize. Yeah.
Well, you're very curious about people.
I am curious about people.
Like to ask them lots of questions. Like do the t-shirt thing.
Yeah.
You tell them your secret.
What?
Your little t-shirt trick.
Oh. That's my t-shirt trick.
Where you're like, oh, that on your t-shirt. Like, I had a cousin that went to blah, blah, blah. And like, and then you know the same small little town as somebody's grandma and is some kind of small world connection.
It's fun.
Is it though?
It's fun.
I think that's high individualization talking.
Yeah, it's so much fun to, I don't know why, but it is. I love doing it. I was the guy that had the Highland shirt on.
Yeah.
So I told him I lived there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I can pick out little details and just, it's relatable. I like to relate to people. I like talking to them. I like, well, like you said, I'm very curious. I like to find out about people and I don't know. I love their stories. I could sit for hours and listen to people's stories. Where are you from? I ask all the time about the people that your friends that you encounter.
Well,
I love it.
almost always I'll tell you about somebody and you'll ask like, oh, where are they located or what do they do for work or what is it blah, blah, blah. And almost never do I have the answer to that question. I didn't ask. I didn't think to ask. I don't know. I have no idea. Which I have individualization as number 26. And that was a quote on a podcast, a Clifton Strengths podcast recently about how tools like Strengthsfinder are really great for people low in individualization who don't naturally see the subtle little details about people. Like we've talked about this before, like you always notice people's shoes.
I have a shoe fetish.
But like even above and beyond a shoe fetish, like you like shoes, it's like you learn so much about the person by looking at their shoes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even look at their shoes. I don't even think about their shoes, let alone I'm decoding their individuality out of the shoe choice that they have on. But like,
well, if your shoes like coordinate with your outfit, that says a lot. Or if they're dirty old raggedy shoes, like say you're wearing really nice clothes but your shoes are all raggedy and dirty, that says something about you. Or like, do those shoes even like, why would you wear those dressy shoes with shorts? Is that those the only shoes that you have? Are they super expensive, like fancy shoes? Like, that tells so much about a person. I can tell so much about you by your shoes. Or if you've got like really comfortable shoes on, or tell a lot about somebody by their shoes.
And just all the little things about, I guess, like, and that's what, I would be curious about as someone with low individualization is like, yeah, you're learning off their shoe. Like, where do you get these details? Because I'm out there. I'm looking at them. Like, how are you seeing all of this information about them? And it really, truly is like, how much makeup do they have on? Like, what kind of hairstyle are they wearing? Like, are they in a t-shirt or in they like a button down and a tie? Like, I mean, you're getting a lot out of like the little details of whatever. And when I look at people, I just don't see that stuff.
Oh, and it makes them feel seen.
Mm-hmm.
when you individualize somebody and
Definitely.
and that feels really good. I think it does. It seems to put people at ease. It makes them relaxed. You find something that they're some common ground where you can talk to them, and it bites me in the ass because I can do that with so many people, and then I freaking get a burrito brought to me for lunch, and
That's a good burrito.
now I have a boyfriend, and
Yeah.
because you just get to know people.
And the guy who would come in like, "Where's Doll? Where's my babe? Where is she?" Like, freaking people thinking that you're all into them because you're just really good at getting to know an individual.
And it'll bite you in the ass. You gotta
I
be
wonder if that's
careful
like
with
a
that tool.
individualization thing.
Yeah. But it just makes people feel good. And for some reason, I like to find like common ground with people. But we all do. That's a thing that everybody likes to do, is like to
No,
find.
not necessarily.
You do it.
Not necessarily, because yours is like, when we look at your full 34 report, that like you lead with relationship building or whatever. That's like the dominant place where your motivation comes from, is being able to relate to other people and build relationships with them and put them at ease and meet their needs or whatever else it is that you're getting out of this. And that's my third one. So like I got a all other things, so many other things going on top of me wanting to build nice relationships with people. Not that I don't, but
Well, I'm not saying but you like to find people that you have stuff in common with, right?
true.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. We all like to do that. So I like, I like to talk to people and talk to them about Florida, talk to them about a sports team, talk to them about whatever. And
See,
then
I
we
don't have
this-
that though.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, like the difference. I mean,
I'm a, what do you call me? A something car salesman.
schmarmy.
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 Schmarmy. I don't even know what that word means, but she calls me schmarmy.
It's got a
Schmarmy.
connotation to it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Schmarmy.
That's me. I don't know. I can do that with anybody that I meet.
See, and I don't have that like social ease with people I've never met before.
And it's so odd that I do, because for the first 20 some years of my life, I was very shy, very bashful, not make eye contact, just how do you talk to people? And now I could talk to anybody and start a conversation. What was her name? Catherine? CenturyLink? We're talking about the weather. I'll make friends with anybody.
Yeah. Where are you located, Miss Catherine?
Louisiana.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's the other thing, is the remembering the personal details about people, because like I'll be on a Zoom or whatever, and someone would be like, yeah, me and my wife Sandy, we took our dogs and we went to Colorado, and like I did remember this because I made a point to like write these details down. But it's like that kind of stuff just like lands in your brain, and then the next time you're like, yeah, so how's Sandy doing? You been to Colorado recently? Like you got them like on speed dial to like call it back forward. And again, mine, like, it's like in one ear and out the other, unless I'm gonna like write it down. Otherwise it takes me a long time to learn like the significant other's names, or like, unless I can relate it personally to myself. Like Jeff, Maddie's Jeff, like I got a Jeff. It like instantly, and her cat's name is JoJo. I remember that because I'm like, I got my own JoJo, and yep, right there. So unless it's like that, unless I can relate it to myself, which sounds so self-centered, it just like, I don't keep it. Just keeps getting purged as soon as I hear it.
I don't know, because there's so many people at the store that I do that with. I know their kids' names. I know that they went on a trip. I can pull that up and ask them about it. And yeah, I guess could say they're friends or whatever, but there's so many people there that I know a lot about, and yeah, I feel like there's some kind of like a relationship there, and I don't know why I do that. But it feels good to talk to people and to, yeah.
Well,
I don't-
when you
I've-
lead with relationship building, it's like energizing
Yeah.
to get to build relationships with people. And
True.
yeah, whether it's coworkers or customers or whatever, like in your work. But
I mean, I did that dispatching. There were people that would call in repeatedly, and yeah, there was one guy in particular, and he was having a bad night, and I don't think it was suicide. No, it wasn't. But he wanted him to come pick him up and take him to the mental hospital anyways, and he called, and we got people dispatched to him, and he said, well, I'll get off the phone and something, and anyways, he was going to hang up because he knew that I had other calls to take, but I had somebody there with me that night, and I said, no, it's okay, I can stay on the phone and talk to you. And we had a really nice conversation, and I really got to learn a lot about him, and I'm sure that he was probably crazy, but I felt like I made a connection with him, like there was a human side to him. Yeah, he had a lot of issues and drugs and different things like that going on, but there was some kind of like a real human connection there, and just talking to him, and it felt good to be able to talk to him and keep him calm and know where he was at, because once you hang up, you don't know what's going on now.
right.
So, but yeah, we had Florida, I think, in common. There was something else. I found like 2 or 3 things that we could relate to each other about.
Yeah.
And it was a nice conversation, and he would call and he would ask if I was there. He would ask for the number for Kansas, and I would ask him what was going on, and I just want the number for Kansas. Okay, I'll give you the number for Kansas, but what's going on? Can I talk to you? And so we did. We talked, and he told me that he was a cutter, and that he just wanted to talk to somebody. Well, I wanted to get a deputy or an officer to where he was at. He actually lived in Holton. And I wanted to get an officer over there and check on him and make sure that he was okay. And he was not. He had played this game before. He wasn't going to give me a name. He wasn't going to give me which I had the phone number, I think, from like the caller ID on 911. No address, nothing like that. And so we just kept talking, and we had the Florida in common, and we were on the phone for a long time talking. Anyways, let's see, how did it go? He asked me what I like to eat or something like that, if I like spaghetti, and yeah. And in the course of me talking to him, we were also calling over, I think, the Holton PD. Anyways, we found out who he was and where he lived, and so we sent an officer over there. And he made me promise that I would not send anybody to his house. All he wanted was the number to Kansas. He just wanted to call and talk to them, kind of let them talk him off the edge or whatever. And promised me you're not going to send a cop. And I did. I made a promise that I wouldn't, and which was a lie, but it was a good lie because it was for his safety. I want somebody to go see that this guy is okay and he's not going to kill himself. And so the cop showed up at his house and went in and talked to him. And of course they told him, you know, I think maybe they told him my name. I don't know if I had told him or not. But anyways, they went in and I guess assessed that he was okay, and they just left him alone. They didn't arrest him. They didn't take him anywhere, whatever. They just left him alone in his apartment. And so after they left, he called me back and chewed me out for calling the cops over there. He was pissed off about that. And I told him why I did it. I was worried about him. I just wanted to make sure that he was okay. He called me talking about, you know, things that made me concerned for his safety. This is why I did it. And at the end of the conversation, he goes, "So, do you still want to come over and have spaghetti with me?" No. I do not want to come have spaghetti with you.
No, but also no.
No. So even after all of that, I mean, we had a connection. And
Obviously.
Then I think the first thing he said to me when he called back, he yelled at me and said, "Why did you betray me?" And
Wow.
I explained why I did that, and it was for his own good, and I felt that was the right thing to do. Why you betrayed me? Did I do something in a past life to you? Why would you do this? Why would you betray me? And I just stood my ground and told him why. And apparently that was good enough reasoning, because I
You
was still
still-
invited for
Sure.
spaghetti dinner.
But you didn't go.
I sure did not.
I sure did not. Oh.
He was a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Yeah, bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart. But yeah, we had a connection. He wanted me to come have spaghetti with him.
I can totally, we've talked about that a lot, that like you're listening with very few words, very few questions. Like your listening is such a powerful gift that you give to people. Like when you give them your undivided attention. And yeah, I mean, definitely people can read a lot into that, because I think it is rare in today's world that someone is so externally focused. Like we've talked about this too, about how, well, if I can get them talking about themselves, then I don't have to talk about myself.
Bingo.
So that's definitely part of it. But it's like, so like no matter what your reasoning for why you like to do it that way, yeah, it's cool to understand that, but it's like if you would rather get them talking, and now it becomes this talent for getting them talking such that they like kind of fall in love with you in the process a little bit, because they're, I think, just so grateful for the quality of attention that you're giving them. Yeah, you kind of gotta, it reminds me of the guy on X-Men with like the laser eyes, and when he doesn't wear his glasses or whatever, it like is destructive. He's gotta like really be mindful of like, where am I pointing this superpower? And do I mean the love that I send when I give this kind of attention to someone? And I think you've described many situations like with the high school kids or with Stacy or when you're dispatching, where it's so kind to give them that kind of attention and that individual, like helping them be seen and heard kind of quality attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people like it. Makes them feel good. And I
Of
want
course.
people to feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to make them feel good.
One of the blind spots to individualization is that you can't assume that others are as good as you are at soaking up personal details. So like one of the downsides is that because it comes so naturally to you to like have such an individual perspective on people, like sometimes you can feel like, you know, they're not reciprocating or whatever, or like your personal details don't get soaked up as much as like you're soaking up other people's. Do you ever feel like that?
I don't think so. If I understood what you just said, like, so you're saying that I want them to
Like-
remember specifics about me or individualize me. That's what I'm wanting from them.
Well, that's a blind spot of thinking, like if you feel like other people aren't giving you individualized attention, or you've told them your dog's name 3 times and they don't remember it, and like you feel like I don't matter to this person because they're not remembering my details, it's like maybe or maybe not, because not everybody is good at individualization like you are, where you would just naturally absorb it. So it's almost like, yeah, like not necessarily needing them to individualize you, but kind of like forgetting or missing the point that like you're really uniquely talented at this and not everybody is.
Well, and so individualization and restorative, I think, are 2, and I would like to do it with the top 5 anyways, but that's somewhere where I've grown, because, yeah, 10, 15 years ago, I would have felt that way, and maybe even less than that, I would have felt
what way?
Felt the way that, well, they're not remembering stuff about me, they're not individualizing me. Why? That's, you know, they don't care about me, do they not like me? So I definitely fell into that. I don't now.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's, I want the spotlight off of me. I want it on to you. Let's talk about you. Let's leave me over here. Because I'm good. I'm taken care of. I'm okay. I don't need you to ask anything about me or remember anything about me.
Which I think is interesting when you look at your full 34 report. Communication is like in bottom end of the report. I don't remember exactly what number it was. And communication in Clifton Strengths doesn't just mean like good at communication necessarily. It mostly is talking about motivation, and are you motivated by a desire for other people to understand you? And so to have communication like super low on your list means you're not really motivated by other people understanding you. Like that doesn't really do much for you. The same as like being consistent does almost nothing for me. So it just is good to know that like, yeah, in a conversation, I would much rather ask a lot of questions and get them to tell me their stories and get to listen to their stories. And when they're kind of done talking, I'll just like push them a little bit and like, oh, here, talk more about that. And like, if that's what you're happy with, if that's what energizes you, I mean, like I said, it's a gift when you give your attention to someone and ask them your questions and let them talk. Yeah, people love that shit. But most people are so like hungry to tell their own story that often they're not truly listening. I think we've talked about that before. Like, are you listening to respond, or are you listening to like kind of just biding time until you get to say what you want to say, versus like, are you really trying to listen to understand what the other person is talking about?
Well, I think it's helped. You and I have talked so much that, yeah, I feel like I've got to say everything and I've got to tell my stories. So why tell it again? I told them once.
I'm good.
Which should be good, right?
That's enough for a lifetime.
Right. I feel like.
Well, and that's like how everybody's different, because I want to tell my stories all the time, you know? So, yeah.
Well, and the journaling and that has helped so much, because I tell my stories in the journal. I tell whatever it is that I want to say, or the feelings or the emotions or whatever, and putting it in there and writing it down. No, it's out. I don't need to tell it. And I find that I'm a lot quieter, I think, which is hard to believe because I'm always pretty quiet. I don't say a lot, but I feel like I'm mostly listening, or, you know, talking to other people. Just asking them questions. I feel like way more than I used to. I feel like I used to want to tell my story more than what I do now. And that's
and
kind
you
of
credit that to journaling?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Because I write it all down in there, so it's out. We're good. It's gone.
It's almost like you individualize yourself through your journal. Like you turn it around and like point it on you and listen to your own stories and spend time with your own
I like that.
pieces.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's one of the pieces that I want to try to remember to put into the program, is like basically how can you turn that superpower on yourself, like restorative, instead of trying to fix somebody else or trying to fix whatever. Like, see if you can fix your own patterns of behavior. Like, see if you can look at your own outcomes. Is there something you could restore within yourself, kind of thing? Or adaptability, or like whatever else. And like, how can you let yourself off the hook? How can you turn your magic on yourself in a more intentional way? Because like journaling, for example, like you're already doing it. So then it's just a matter of like knowing while you're doing it, like, look, I'm individualizing myself. I'm putting my magic on myself, and just kind of like further reinforcing the power of the activity you're already doing, kind of thing. Like, I feel like that's kind of the claim it part of the name it, claim it, aim it of Strengthsfinder, is like, not necessarily that you have to do a bunch of brand new activities, but that you're claiming, like, this journaling helps me because it's me pointing my individualization power on myself, or whatever, like claiming why it's powerful for you, sort of thing. So I want to like, I want to do that with my own strengths most of all, but I think that would be super fun to think about, like, how do you point it on yourself? Learner is one that comes to mind on mine, of like, long ago, that was kind of the beginning of my self-awareness journey, was I pointed that learner inside of me, And it opened up a whole new world in there. It
Yeah.
was like life-changing to point
How
the
so?
learner at myself. Let me just explain to her how I am, and I realized, like, I don't even really know who I am. So that's why I started, like, to ask myself those questions. I didn't, like, intentionally think, how can I point learner at myself? It just kind of, like, happened because I didn't have an answer to that question to be able to explain to her why she was essentially barking up the wrong tree trying to get me to be different. So yeah, that was the beginning of something really powerful, because in the end I feel like I did a good job explaining to her, but my sense of it was that she didn't really care. It didn't really move the needle with her and my relationship with her, but it definitely did something super powerful for me to, like, I mean, that was just the beginning of working with Myers-Briggs and making another pass back through Strengthsfinder, and I mean, eventually leading to finding astrology and human design and gene keys, and like building on top of what I had already established of learning the early systems. But kind of all of that was pointing my learner at myself. And even I wonder, you know, individualization, pointing that at yourself, if tools like this, spending time with like studying yourself, you know, if that's not even part of that, pointing individualization at yourself is like learning language for how to describe what it is that you're doing, you know, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your number one?
Activator.
How would you turn that in on yourself? How would you point that at yourself?
Oh, I do it all the time with the activator. Honestly, also reminds me of my human design type of being a manifester, where manifestors initiate. They have creative urges, and like when it feels like it's time, and we're going right now. And so like I activate on things every day. Like I also have ideation and futuristic in my top 10. They're not in my top 5, but I have a lot of ideas percolating at a time in my head, and I have lists and journals and on, but like almost every day it's time for something. And that activator loves to start stuff. And so I've started a couple different books. I've started lots of video scripts that
You-
never got finished.
Writing books?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. You know this, superabundance. The mind, body, spirit connection. Really?
You wrote it?
I started it.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Really?
And then the journal, the astrology journal that you
Yes.
really want me to finish.
Yes. That would
Oh.
help me. I knew about that.
Yeah. So like, it's like that. I get really excited about starting stuff, and some of it sticks. So like part of how I turn it on myself and like really own it and embrace it is I do find a lot of joy in starting new things, and I find way less joy in finishing them depending on the circumstances of what it is. And so I've like used this like just in learning my own activator strength or whatever, that like I gotta let myself off the hook for the laundry list of half finished shit that I have behind me, of like all the different ideas and projects that are half started and maybe will never be finished. And that like changing my narrative around it, like that's not a waste of my time. It actually was a good investment of my time. It helped me organize my thoughts for where I was at that time, and then I was ready to move on into the next thing better because of half starting this thing over here. Like maybe all the things that I've started and never finished, like maybe finishing it wasn't the point. Maybe the little bit of flavor that I chewed out of that gum in the moment, like it's about energy. Like where are you sourcing energy? And starting something new definitely is very energizing for me. So I kind of I let myself run with the things full speed that are fun for me. Like I know how you were saying, like the ping pong table example, like you want to figure out all the steps, and why make mistakes if you don't have to? And I'm like, let's just throw it at the wall and see what works and what doesn't work, and we'll adapt and we'll evolve it afterwards. So yeah, it's I think probably the biggest piece is like letting myself run with the ideas that feel like they're ready. which also plays into like how much autonomy do you have in your life. Like back when I was at the software company, I wasn't the boss of anything, and Activator wasn't in my top 5 yet, because really I didn't have any kind of an open lane to just activate on things however I felt. Like I had assigned work that was my job, that somebody told me I needed to show up and do these things. So I think positioning myself with a wide open lane in front of me where I'm free, like in my YouTube channel especially, I'm free to do whatever I want. There's nobody else that I gotta ask for permission. And then also letting myself off the hook when I, you know, when I do, like the only time I've ever tried to do a series through all the signs, like the North Node videos through all the different signs. And I only did 9 out of the 12 of them. And I just haven't found the energy or the motivation to go back and finish the last 3. It just doesn't do anything for me to think about finishing that series. So yeah, I let myself off the hook for finishing stuff. I don't worry about it. Yeah. So that's Activator. That's my number 1. Yeah. See, and now we're here back talking about me. You did it again, ladies and gentlemen.
She's good.
She is good.
She's real good.
And this was good, I think. It sounds like maybe we planted a couple seeds, like questions you hadn't thought about yet. And
Well, you were talking about the, I don't know, but something about, you know, that process and like the methodical.
that was restorative.
Okay. And letting that be okay. And yeah, that's been hard to like process that. And I think I told you the other day that I was finally okay with it. Understanding that I'm not slow, I'm not dumb, I'm not whatever term I've described myself or felt about myself for not being able to process things fast or whatever. It's okay. Like understanding that, yeah, I take in a lot that
Yeah. Well, and I think I shared this on a live stream, and I know I've told you a few times of like, some people like to think and turn it all into words and process and get something out of your mouth. Like some people's process is only digging like an inch little trough, and so it's really fast to go from here to here. And if you're digging like 1,000 miles deep and then you're trying to cover that same distance, like that's a lot more digging.